Hello everyone, welcome to Bible Thoughts. I am Ryan Stover, and I'm here to finally begin our Bible study into Genesis. Yes, we've all heard of Genesis. There are lots of organizations that name themselves after Genesis, like Answers in Genesis and other things like that. But I just want to focus on a topic at a time, just one topic at a time. And the first one in creation is the first 6 days of creation. Aside from man. We'll save man for the next video. So let's just simply go over these 6 days of creation. Okay? I'll be reading from the KJV. If you have a different version, that's fine. Just follow along with me. Maybe you'll hear some differences, but if there's anything crucial, I'll point it out. Okay? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Clear and simple, right? This is often echoed all throughout other books in the Bible, like in John 1, Hebrews 1:10, Psalms, Isaiah 44. All throughout the Bible, they echoed this same thing, acknowledging that God created everything. Okay. And the earth was without form and void. The darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The Spirit of God. That's really important. The Spirit of God moved along these things. So was this the Holy Spirit? Some will say it was. That very well can be. But we also learned that Jesus was at the beginning of the world. Of course, Jesus and God are the same, right? And so the presence of God, remember, he's omnipresent. He's in a place of no time, so he's at all times. If we can understand that. But that's far from our comprehension because we live in a time-limited space, right? To move on, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Now, the creation of light, boom, there's light. Now, some people could speculate to say, oh, maybe this is the Big Bang. Okay, we could say it was the Big Bang in the presence of it being bursted out from nothing, but to say it was billions and millions of years ago, that's a stretch, right? That's going to be their deduction, their scientific theory that they come up with. But the Bible gives us a clear genealogy of giving us when this happened. So it's just over, if we follow the genealogy, it's just over like 6,000 years ago, they say, but it can be rough, give or take, but it's around that. But the point is, God created, and yes, it might have been boom, exploded out, and molecules went out across the space, and that's why space seems like it's expanding because of that. And the Big Bang could have been just, if we want to say, call it the Big Bang, could be just God's snap, God's creation coming to life. Was it like a lit up candle? Did the sun appear? Or did it pop into? No way of knowing, but there seems to be evidence of a giant explosion in space of creation, and that could have very well been from this verse. So, however you want to see it, right? I digress. Let's continue. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. He kind of gives you a way to know that one day is completed. There's the evening and the morning, one day. He's kind of giving you a 24-hour setup, right? And clarifying, making it easy to understand. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." So there's a firmament between waters. Now, a lot of other versions will say vault, like NIV. ESV will say expanse. They're not very clear. Vault is even an arch, like we use for structures. So it's kind of strange why they don't want to stick with firmament. It's, just clarify the meaning. You don't need to change the word. But the Bible, again, speaks for itself and will tell you what firmament means. So let me continue. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters. In verse 7, and God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under and which were above. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So he called the firmament heaven. Now, is this heaven as in the space above the earth, the sky? Or is it heaven as we know it as heaven, but we are not able to see it anymore, right? Because actual heaven, we are not able to see it until we pass on, right? It's kind of out of our dimension. And God called the firmament heaven, in the evening and the morning the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. Now the forming of earth, or the planet, right? But here he's calling the soil, the ground, earth, and the water seas. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw it was good. So the earth was good prior to the flood, which is the earth that he intended for us to have. And if you've read the whole Bible and Revelation, we're going to get that earth back. We're going to get the earth he intended. This earth will perish, and we'll get a new earth, the earth that he intended for us to have. The earth that Adam and Eve started in, but was discarded. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself. So there you go. You got science here. What is a fruit? Fruit is having seed inside itself. So that debate about the tomato, now you know. Tomato is fruit. And the earth brought forth grass, herb yielding seed, tree yielding fruit. And he saw it was with seed is within itself after its kind. And God saw it was good. And evening and morning, the third day. And then God said, let there be lights in the firmament. And this is important. Again, firmament. And he said he's going to put lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. Now, this is interesting. He said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. So now there's another firmament. Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. So here it's almost like the firmament, the heaven is sky, but then there's another firmament, which is space, which has the stars, the sun, and the moon. The day from the night, divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, right? We used these things to calculate our time, our length of time. Of days and years and such, of course. The solar calendar, lunar calendar, if you're in Asia. We can watch the stars to know when is a good time to harvest and all these things. Old practices from long ago. Of course, some people still use them today. They can know where the sun is in the horizon and know what time of year it is without the seasons changing. So yeah, but we still use them like that today, right? Especially if you're a farmer. Now he said, let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. So this was to be in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, not to give light unto heaven, right? See, there's a difference there. So that means heaven is not getting this light. Of course, if God is there, he is the light, right? And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, the moon, and the stars also. Kind of an afterthought, it seems. And God let them set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And God saw it was good, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Now, you might see me jumping around a little bit, but you know the story. But if you're wanting to know where I am, on verse 20, and God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. Okay, the open firmament of heaven. So that again is saying that heaven is present here with us. And that kind of ties in with what Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is with you. So it's almost like heaven is already here with us, not necessarily the sky, but it's kind of on earth. Heaven is on earth, but, not for us to see it. We cannot be there with our sinful flesh, but God is there. Jesus is there. Our loved ones who know him are there. And so that's really interesting to have this detail and focus in on it. Because if he's saying that the firmament of heaven is where the birds fly, well, we know that is the sky. So technically there are two firmaments, or just everything above the earth is firmament. The sky, space, ozone layer, whatever, right? And so you can just simply say the planets are in the firmament, the birds fly in the firmament, right? It'd be a little confusing, but it's just everything above heaven or earth. So interesting that he says this, that he's calling the surface earth, or the sky is above the heaven, right? Above heaven. So really interesting detail. Definitely requires more thought and research, of course. Maybe there's something I'm missing. If you know more, please let me know. All right. And then God said, "Let earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind." And it was so. God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And that is the sixth day. Now he also makes man, but we're going to save that for next time. Okay? So there we go. We have the 6 days of creation. A lot of details to pick up on, right? It's interesting when you read the Bible, not just as the story itself, but really pay attention to every verse. Every verse could be revealing something to you. And it depends on your career or your intelligence or your focus in life, your experiences even, and you're going to see something different here. If you study birds, you're going to see something unique. If you study fish, you're going to see something unique. If you study geology, you're going to see something unique. It's just all of these things that no matter where you come from, you're going to find something unique about this, and it's going to enlighten you if your eyes are open to it, right? So thank you for joining me on our first segment of Genesis, and I look forward to joining you again next time when we talk about the creation of man. All right, this is Ryan Stover in Bible Thoughts, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.